Thinking about buying a duplex, triplex, or more for rental income in Halifax? Well, even if it's advertised that way, has separate meters, separate mailboxes, and even in the appropriate zoning, it may not be legal and you may be stuck with units you can't legally rent out. And if you're counting on that rental income to pay the mortgage, you may not be able to pay the mortgage. And now if you try to resell it, it'll sell for less because it's not and can't be advertised as a duplex, triplex, etc. This could end up costing you a ton of money. And if you're interested in an investment property, money is something you probably care about. So don't get stuck with one. Hi, my name is Chris Melnick and I'm a realtor in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Today, I'm talking about illegal multifamily rental properties. These are often found on the Peninsula, Fairview, Spryfield, and certain neighborhoods in Dartmouth. Now, here's an actual scenario that happened to an associate. Their current client had bought what they thought was a duplex a number of years ago. It was represented as a duplex, had the 2 power meters, and had been used as a duplex for years. They had the zoning confirmation letter that said it was R2, so it allowed duplexes, and the deal went through with no red flags from anyone, including the lawyers. But when they tried to sell it, it came to light that it was not a legal duplex. So the deal fell through and the seller incurred a significant expense to renovate it and to permit it to become a legal duplex. They also had missed out on the timing of the market. They lost a lot of money and it was a big unexpected headache. So why does this happen? Well, to begin, illegal units were very common years ago. And sometimes they were even able to get separate power meters. On that note, you can still get a separate meter today for, say, a very well-equipped garage. But as you can understand, that doesn't make that garage a dwelling. Some of these units were even built in homes that actually had the appropriate zoning. But to cut corners and avoid certain standards and permits, they just never made them into legal additional dwellings. And they successfully rented it out for years and didn't think much of it. This could have been happening for 40 plus years. So then when it comes time to sell, memories get blurry over decades and the seller goes, oh yeah, it's a duplex. Here's the meters and here's the zoning. It's been like this forever. And they could add, oh, don't worry about it. It may not meet current standards, but it'll all be grandfathered in. Do you really think the city is going to take away a rental unit in the housing crisis we're in now? And after talking like that, it's listed for sale as a duplex. And sometimes people just assume that if there's any uncertainty, the lawyers will figure it out. But here's the thing. Say a buyer gets an accepted offer, and then they get their lawyer to start their due diligence. Oftentimes, a lawyer will check the title for who the actual owners are, check for liens, restrictive covenants, and maybe look at the zoning, etc. But it's not necessarily their job to verify how many actual legal dwellings there are, nor is it really the seller's lawyer's job. They mostly take the listing at face value, as does the lender. I'm not trying to criticize lawyers at all, by the way, because in the same vein, you wouldn't expect a lawyer to verify the square footage of the home or the number of bathrooms either, because that listing is supposed to be accurate. So then an illegal multifamily building is bought and no one is the wiser. No red flags. But here's what very well could happen. If someone makes a complaint, like a disgruntled tenant, neighbor, or anyone really, compliance will be notified and they'll look on their system to check how many legal units there are. If it's less than what's being rented out, they'll give you 30 days to fix the problem. So your options are, number 1, kick the tenant out, possibly face a lawsuit from them, and leave the unit vacant. Or number 2, try to make it legal. So to make it legal, if it was actually zoned for it, you could apply for the appropriate permits and do renovations to make it a legal duplex, triplex, etc. Although it could get expensive because everything would need to be done by current standards, and that may not be financially or physically possible to do so. In the same way, if it meets certain requirements, you could try to make it into a legal secondary suite, but you may face the same issues as mentioned previously. Finally, if it's a really old building and there's a chance that it was actually legal many decades ago, but the records were just lost, You can go down to the Halifax archives. They even have some permit records that are over 100 years old there. If you can prove it was legal at some point, you may be able to get planning and development to grandfather the unit in its current state. The facility is very nice, by the way. I was there a couple of days ago. You look at old microfilms just like in the movies. So how do you protect yourself from all of these issues? Simple. You make sure that when you're buying a multifamily property, that you're able to get something in writing from the municipality that actually says it's a duplex, triplex, etc., and you can legally rent out those units. If that can't be provided, you can call 311 in Nova Scotia and get transferred to planning and development, and simply give them the address and ask them if it's legal to rent out the 2-3 units, etc. in the duplex or triplex. Officially, it can take 10 business days for them to get back to you, but they'll often email me back within a few days. And then I have something in writing from the municipality that says it's legal. That's what I do for clients, but you can do that for yourself as well. You may think this is obvious, but you'd be surprised at how many illegal multifamily buildings are bought and sold without proper documentation, because everyone thinks that someone else would catch a mistake if there was one. If you'd like help buying or selling a legal multifamily building, feel free to contact me. My contact information is in the description. Goodbye.